Wow, that was a cluster F. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Daily AI Show live on LinkedIn and other channels. Today is December the 11th, Monday. Wake up. Hey, Carl.
What's going on?
I've been gone for a week. Maybe I can mention that, but also we have the four of our usual suspects today. Today's topic is the future of SEO in the AI era. We have all of the answers, don't we, guys?
All of it.
No, we don't. Yeah. We were talking. This is going to be quite a robust topic. I don't think we're going to cover it all. But for those who are tuning in, they probably tuned in because it is such a hot topic. So let's not disappoint them. Does anybody want to jump off with their thoughts on this topic? Just the first thing that jumps out at your mind, Andy, Junmi, Carl.
You know what? When we think of SEO, like the first thing you think of, like for most people, is Google, right? But when you think, I feel when you think of SEO today, it's how do people find stuff? Like where do people go to find whatever they're looking for? And I don't think it's as it was maybe a decade ago where Google is the only place to go. I feel like if you want to find things you want to buy, you'd go to Amazon. If there's things that, really deep things you want to go, maybe you go to Reddit. Depends on if you want to maybe find other specific things, there's TikTok. So I feel like search today is segmented. Now, obviously, Google still is prevalent because they're inside the places where it's so convenient to search. So you've got the search bars, you've got on your phones. I think Apple has the exclusive deal with Google, so they are the what is it like? Is it the browser or the search engine? So like, I feel like Google's there, but in the advent of AI, the expectation, I feel it's a little different, and that's where I think Google's trying to go with SGE. But there's so many ways now you can go about it, right?
Well, I will have to not say pushback. This is not a pushback. So don't use my slogan here, but there is an E there that you're leaving out. Search engine optimization. So in that sense, yes, it is Google, it is Bing, it is the search engines that we're optimizing for. But you're kind of going down a different rabbit trail, which I respect and understand, which is search optimization. So you might be optimized for the LinkedIn platform or the TikTok platform or the Instagram platform. Those are becoming new search mechanisms. So I get that. But if we're going to narrow it to the search engine piece, which is basically making your website be crawled better so that it aligns with keywords and segmentations and long tail, keywords and whatnot. What is AI doing to that particular ecosystem without going outside to search optimization, so staying within search engine? Yeah.
I would agree there. Although I think when we talk about search engine optimization, and I don't want to go down this route because we're talking about like that, if you want to go down that path, but it's just important to understand like how are people's search behaviors also changing?
True.
That is a consideration when you think about SEO. And it was an interesting thing that we are actually talking about, hey, what does website development look like in 2 to 3 years? Especially those who are right now going through website dev. It's like, how do we redev our site? What does that look like? And it's an important thing to start thinking about, because I don't think you can just create the same kind of websites today. And how do you think it'll search in a couple of years?
That is a bombshell right there, Carl. That statement right there. I wouldn't even say 2 to 3. I'd say 1 to 2 years.
Sure. Yeah.
Or 6 months to 12 months. Andy, Jimmy, what is your thoughts on that bombshell he just dropped?
I think
it is a bombshell. How is I mean, you think about how is website design going to change moving forward? I'll give you a thought in a second, but
right. Jimmy, I think it's going to basically split into 2 categories, right? You're going to do number one, what you're going to do on the back end and what you're going to do on the front end, right? So the front end is more of more of a focus on the customer experience, because what is it going to take to get to your website? Is traffic even going to go to the website? If everyone's using ChatGPT, Perplexity, and these other AI, search methods, then what is going to incentivize them to go to your website? And when they go to their website, what kind of user experience you're going to get? On the back end, I think everything's going to be built out so that when those AI searches go out, it'll grab the content that's most relevant. And I think that's where the biggest change will be, is how you present your content. How is it formatted? How deep do you go so that it can be used as a more reliable source of information when people are just on their phones using their AI assistants to grab whatever information they're looking for, which is still the largest, search parameter for most people, is informational.
So this came up in a conversation recently, and I really want to delve down this rabbit trail if I could, and just follow along with me if you could.
Mm-hmm.
So Marketing AI podcast, they did something on this briefly, but just think about this for a second. ChatGPT now is the arbiter of truth in some regards. Like there are the ability to, I have a question, I want the answer to my question without blue links, without ads.
Right.
So the users are being trained that this is what the expectations are. I expect now to not be throwing a bunch of ads in obviously we're talking about informational searches. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
And some product searches might even fall into there too. But let's just throw those away for now. Let's just talk about the change and the new norm. Okay. So the new norm for a user is going to slowly migrate toward, I get my answer quick and fast and in a hurry without a bunch of fluff and a bunch of ads in the way. Now, if Google wants to play in that realm, how will they play in that realm? Give me 5 best places to visit in San Antonio. It gives me 5 places to visit on ChatGPT that are, I don't know, the Alamo, this, that, and the other. These are all tourist destinations who do ad dollars, who do SEO traffic, who do paid search, right? And in ChatGPT, the answers are pretty clear where you should go. You do the same thing in Google. Now they're playing the weird game of, I'm taking ad revenues to provide an answer to a user. Now, either this very clearly, Google is going to have to be, what do you call it when you're evaluating those answers? Either they're going to have to be a judge of whether this answer properly matches that user before you're allowed to buy that ad space, or they're just going to play their old game of algorithms, and now their results will be less trustworthy than GPT's results. So that's where I can't help but think that's where we're going to have this conversation.
So basically you're saying that Google might go down the route of pay to play. Whoever's paying them for the ad, their ad source is the information that's going to be presented to the user as their information base.
Well, in order to hold on to their ad revenue, right? If they want to be search generative experience with ads, how do they do that?
And that's why I thought, like, the way that Google's revenue, or how the ad, I guess, experience works today doesn't jive with search generative experience. Right. It can't, because it relies on, here's a bunch of links on top of the organic results or wherever it is, and you have to click there to go, for them to make money, and for the people who, like, for the website to get the traffic. But this whole thing doesn't jive if the experience is, I don't want to go to your website, I want to get the information in platform and then leave and do my own thing. So a simple example, this Black Friday, I started using Perplexity for, hey, give me the best deal for whatever. I don't know. I think it was some sort of like things that you put on your shoe to go trail running in the winter. I forgot what they're called. Anyway, so I looked at that. It's like, give me the best deals. And if you look at my search, it's like very personalized to, in Canada, this is what I want, or give me the outline. And then Perplexity gave me Like, oh, these are the 5 or 6. Here's a bunch of pictures, and I'll click if I want to. I'm like, great. If I did the same thing with Google, I get ads, 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 and then I scroll down and maybe you get some links. So from an e-commerce perspective, it's like, okay, that's a lot, but the Perplexity method is very targeted to specifically with me, no ads. So I
How
don't
are they
know.
making money? How does Perplexity make money on that?
But I think Perplexity, though, makes money would be if you pay the X amount of dollars, whatever it is, then you get like $20 a month. Then you get the ad-free experience, you get GPT-4 and all that kind of stuff. So that's probably that's their revenue model. Obviously, the Google revenue model is still to click. But what's funny is when I click the search generative experience, it doesn't work. So, it
work?
It said it doesn't have a search generative experience for this search.
Okay.
So it works sometimes, it works doesn't.
Well, let's say it did work, Carl. What would it have given you? Would it have given you similar suggestions, and would you go to their it would direct you to the website where you can make a purchase, right? And those were non-sponsored ads, correct?
I don't know. I didn't go down that.
Well, for those who are not sure about what that is, that's basically what they're doing now, and maybe we can do a screen share of what SGE is if those who care. But I think that is where they're playing around. Like 1% of all searches are SGE enabled. And I think
1%. There's only 1%.
That's what I heard months ago. I'm not sure if it's still the case. But my question though is, if the SGE window pops down, it pushes all the ads, sponsored ads, all the blue links down, so the above the fold is mostly SGE content for the most part. And then you see all these links. And I clicked on a couple of them, and it expounds on the right side, more information. Then you can click on their website and go to that website. But none of that is sponsored. So what Google's doing currently is populating it with a GPT type of experience, meaning it's giving it the best answer that the user is wanting for, and you can't pay for that segmentation, which is great, but that does not solve their business model. Like if they decide to go with this full bore, then they're not going to have a product to sell to advertisers.
So maybe you want to.
Let me just. I want to make a distinction between, and you already raised it, Robert, between informational searches, which are definitely going to benefit from SGE and ChatGPT type responses, and transaction oriented ones, whether looking for services or products, or even people who are expert in a certain area that you want to consult with. Those, and that's kind of an edge case because you could probably get a lot of that expertise through, through the GPT type services now. There's always been a fight between the algorithms that are being used, and I'm going to focus on Google because they still own the vast majority of search traffic, but the algorithms that they use to try to determine what the content relevance and authority of a website is, and fighting against the other side of that game, which is content stuffing. So if I want to, rise up in SERP on these particular keywords, I'm going to just pack my website behind the scenes, perhaps even, maybe you could find it on the website if you, really dug deep, but it's just there for the crawler to try to indicate that there's content that's relevant here. But that's not the only signals that the search engines can use. One of the most important and obvious ones is bounce rate. Like, did the user have a sufficient experience to stay on the website more than a few seconds when you clicked on the link that was presented as an ad or as a result? And then now AI content generation is actually having a positive effect on the people who are using it. They're actually reportedly rising in their SERP position as a result of using content generated by AI. But at the same time, AI is being used by Google and every other search engine to try to figure out in much finer detail and in a personalized way what your real intents and background interests are. And they're fighting against your ability to just be based on whatever content is on your website. Yeah. It's
like one's going up and making it harder. Like they're raising the bar. And so, you're gotten better, like you just said, but now Google's making it like, well, we want to we want to be even better at our searches. So now you got to even be better at your content. Yeah. It's
and more importantly, you've got to be better at the user experience, like on your website. And that can be as simple as, even if it's orthogonal to what you offer as a service, if you're really entertaining and you can get a user who arrives at your website to engage in some way that it leads them down a path that gets them to the product or service that you're interested in, that's going to show up on Google's results much better, because people who are arriving at your site are engaged, they're entertained, they're going to do something with your website that shows up metrically as this is a good search result on this particular instance.
Exactly. Yeah. And that just goes back to what I was trying to say before, is that the reasons for people to go to your website is going to change. You need to have that better user experience for them to click the source link in their ChatGPT, or they're in Perplexity, or what's presented to them by their assistant. The just clicking on a link through the Google search page, I think I know they're trying to answer that with SGE. And Robert, you're right. They have to make that decision of how are they going to change their model, their business model? Are they going to go down what I will call the dark path and just present you with paid information? And because I don't think people are going to live there anymore. I don't think people are going to go to google.com.
The question though, Google has always monitored those blue links based on all the stuff you're talking about. But a GPT or a Bing link, and what's like you said, Andy, what if the bounce rate is absolutely atrocious for this particular link to this company? Oh, this is not what I wanted. Go back. How do they remedy? How does OpenAI's GPT remedy links that it provides based on not giving the user what it wants? Does it actually know there's a bounce rate and it analyzes that when giving suggestions?
That's a whole different instrumentation. Yeah.
So I think Google probably does. So in theory, Google would have a better product for this because they have all the data for it, but unfortunately, they have an ulterior motive, which is profit. As an ulterior,
it's interesting because when you look at SGE, it's supposed to generate the content. So, but if you are purposely trying to generate a specific outcome or engineer that specific outcome, is it really generative, like search generative experience? Is it really like that? Or is it kind of a glorified, it's still glorified ads, it just has like content on it, but the engineers have totally like inputted through paid ads, through, we have to show this person, we have to show these companies, when people search this thing, we have to show it. So they inject that into the search generative experience. And so, but then is it really AI then, or is it just
it's a matter of the I imagine it's a matter of priority, right? Information or sources gain priority based off of their pay to play status, because that's what all of the generative is based off of anyways, right? And Robert, I know you shared an article that talked about using like the RAG method to bring in those various sources to generate the answer that people will be experiencing through SGE. So I imagine that that's how they would apply their ad revenue. It's
right.
Did you buy this level of ad? Okay, well, you get put up on, your information gets put up higher on the priority list of sources to compare to. Because I believe,
they have to curate that,
how it compared the information. What's that?
That's where I'm a little bit questioning is Google is going to have to be, in order to fit within this for example, this little suggestion here, this is SGE generated. What's the best places to go into Atlanta? Word of Coca-Cola is on there. It's a museum, right? High Museum of Art. These are people that are advertising these because they want tourist traffic, right? They're for profit, right? So if they're suggesting these and they're actually paying Google AdWords for it, now Google has to determine somehow if this Word of Coca-Cola answers the user's question appropriately. Okay. And if they do, it's like it's going to get in the way where it never had to get in the way before, because if it starts saying, yeah, of course you're the right person. You're an ant farm, and ant farms are really popular because you're paying me $1,000 a day. Yeah. Ant farms are definitely the place to go to in Atlanta.
So can I share my screen on like how Perplexity and ChatGPT does it, which is a little bit different. So same thing. What is the best place to visit in Atlanta? It just gives me a bunch of places that you should visit. And
things. World Coca-Cola, aquarium. Yep.
Yeah. But they're not.
They left out Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, right.
And then I put Perplexity. It actually asks you where to, I would just say all, and I would send. And then
you Copilot though, yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing. It has.
I want to make a very interesting distinction here. Was I was going to show you on my screen share.
Sure.
If you scroll past the SGE in my screen share, it started showing you where they used to go. TripAdvisor, this Atlanta's best website, blah blah blah. So they are now kicking those informational websites to the curb with just giving the user the solutions they wanted to begin with. Which, to be fair, Google was doing that for years. Like they were already doing snippets and doing the weather and doing most answered questions. But this is kind of going a whole nother level.
Oh yeah, I feel. So the thing is, though, I feel with Perplexity and even ChatGPT is that, hey, I feel like there's no paid intention. It's just, they just found this. And whether it's right or wrong, like maybe I'm missing stuff. It's like, how about it's like, where do locals go? I just put that.
So you're absolutely positive that none of those links and those first 10 are paid links.
No, because the revenue is from the $20 that I give Perplexity.
No, I'm saying like they are they not in cahoots with Google somehow?
Perplexity?
Are they using the Google engine or any of the algorithms?
That one I don't know. Like,
so if I were to click on those little numbers on the end of each sentence, I wonder if they would actually.
It went to a TripAdvisor.
Yeah.
Interesting, like, right? And
then I believe that Perplexity uses Mistral and one other. It's not using. But you're asking the question: is it actually collecting information from Google searches?
Yes, I'm trying to figure out if they do the Google search and then provide the results to you. I mean, how is it using it? Is it have its own index tool, like its own web crawler?
This one, I don't know, but
that's a good question for our upcoming show on Perplexity. I think it has its own crawler.
Right. I mean, we can make certain assumptions on the ChatGPT side because they're linked with Bing specifically. It says it's searching with Bing. So if there is that kind of relationship, you imagine, Robert, ChatGPT or OpenAI could have that kind of relationship with their Bing search as part of ChatGPT. Okay.
Well, spirited conversation, definitely not something that we can get the answers to because it's still in flux. And that's one of the things I've been, because we're in the digital marketing world, WSI is, so we're constantly banging hard on the Google door saying, what's changing? Teach us how to do the new algorithm. Teach us how to do the new normal. Are you shifting to an SGE kind of framework? How do we help our clients? To your point, Jimmy, what do websites look like in the next 6 to 24 to 20, whatever, 48 months? So those are all questions that have yet to be unanswered. So if you have the answers, please reach out to the Daily AI Show and let us know.
What I'd really like to know is everybody's one key takeaway, TLDR, if you will, for what is prediction for SEO change in let's say the next 6 or 12 months? What is your one thing that you imagine is going to happen?
I don't think that the 6-month time frame is a reasonable period for change, because the vast majority of people haven't shifted out of doing very few word entries into the search box in their browser. And it's not like a significant number of people have yet found the delight of the full range of knowledge that's available through GPTs or other alternative engines like Perplexity. People are perplexed. They've never heard of it before. So it's only people in sort of the inner sanctums here that are using Perplexity at this point. And I think a lot of professionals, have kind of stumbled upon it perhaps, but it is decidedly different. Yeah. But six
months, do you think that we'll just see more transition to using AI tools for searches? Or do you think that's
longer than that? I think the adoption, the general adoption of tools like ChatGPT and even Bard, SGE is finding its way in there and sort of getting a taste of what it's like to get informational results in a Google search. But I think it's 2 years at least before there's any meaningful migration of people over to GPT-driven results.
Well, so my TLDR is to argue with Andy on his TLDR. I think, but I will agree that delight has not become apparent to everybody. Like, we have experienced the delight of using these knowledge models, and it's so awesome. But when it becomes mainstream, my prediction is the giants will start to fall. And they've already shown that Google has been so just fumbling the ball. They're so terrible, overstaffed, and not quite able to deliver right now. And this has been true, catch up to OpenAI. When mass usage happens and mass people follow my instructions, I say don't use Google for a week is what I tell people when I do workshops. And maybe I'm just single-handedly going to cost them billions of dollars. I don't know. But I feel like I don't want Google to fail because they're part of the S&P, whatever. Anyway, my point is that they were going to start losing market share unless they pivot. And as Carl and I both have been following, they haven't been pivoting very well recently. So
I think my TLDR would be just follow the patterns of the behavioral changes of how people search, right? And that should guide you on the direction your business should take, whether it's website development, where you put your investments, where you put your paid advertising, things like that, because it's important to know, like, hey, how are people getting their information? And it's no longer the straightforward, I'm going to search Google, here's the 10 links I'm going to get. No. There's too many places now to find. And then where does your specific audience actually go get their information? I think that's like an important thing to think about.
TikTok.
Yeah, I agree, Carl. I think it will come with a major shift. I'm not sure it's going to be 6 months. It might be a year out. I did suggest or predict that by the end of 2024, we will have real, fully functional AI assistants, and it'll be on our phone. And so I imagine as soon as Apple releases their Siri AI assistant, people won't search.
I'm still waiting for Amazon's because I have like an Alexa at home and it's terrible.
Oh, right. Could be Amazon's Alexa. It's true. If Google, catches up and does its thing, and maybe Google Assistant will do it. But one of those big assistant programs, if they can get the AI assistant working right, then you don't need to go to the Google search page anymore.
Well, that's a good, interesting theory. I will say that I've been using ChatGPT's voice instead of Siri, and I mean, I had a 6-hour drive a couple of days ago, and we had some very nice conversations about quantum mechanics, about just business in general. And it's absolutely game changing. I mean, like I'm telling you, having Google Voice is how Siri Alexa is supposed to be. That's just, it's amazing. And let's go ahead and give credit to Greg's comment, because we always like to make sure people who comment get to be heard. 100% agree, Greg. Informational search will be the first, and I think it's already happening, right? It's already they're already cannibalizing some of those websites that provide information. And you're right, content creation and automation are slower pathways because it takes slower to adopt those new workflows and new tasks. Probably content creation is quite easy. Automation a little longer. So I would agree with you on those points. And on that note, we're past time. I'm going to try to end on time, which we didn't. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Same bat time, same bat channel tomorrow. And I'm not good at doing.
Welcome back, Robert. It was great to have you back finally. It was a long week last week.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Aloha.